Hi, my name's Tom Reed. I'm the town forester here in Erie. I'm in Lehigh Park this morning with one of our arborists, Terry MacArthur, and our forestry intern, Sophia Sandell. This morning, we're going to demonstrate how to plant a tree. The town of Erie has a really great homeowner rebate program where every resident in town can receive a $200 credit on their water bill for planting an approved species of an approved size. It's very simple. You purchase the tree yourself at a local nursery, save your receipt, submit it online, and if the tree is at least 1.5 inches in caliper size when it's planted and one of our approved species, the town will work with you to get that credit on your water bill. What we've noticed lately is that a lot of nurseries have started providing trees in pots, which is really great. We found that there are some nuances to planting potted trees, and that's why Sophia and Terry are going to demonstrate how to do that for you today.
Picking a tree for your site, you want to consider the mature height of it and the spread, like height spread, how big the trunk is going to get. You want to consider any obstacles that may be near there, so your streets or your sidewalks, your buildings, any other kind of plants you may have around in your yard. The things to consider are going to be exposure to elements like wind, sun. You want to consider your drainage in your soil, and our soils here in Colorado hold moisture a lot, so you want to consider that. Any irrigation that you may have, you want to take that into consideration as well. If you're going to plant in a wet site, take that into mind, and same with the dry site. Elms usually do pretty well in our tough soils. They're fairly quick growing. They usually have a little bit wider topped growth, kind of like a vase. But yeah, they seem to handle our dry conditions as well as wet conditions. Box elder is another good one. There's a variety called Sensation box elder that is great to plant here in Colorado. It does well in a wet site, so it also will handle some drought. They're native-ish trees to Colorado, so they can definitely handle our drought. So the first thing you're going to do is take your tree out of your container. Okay. So then what you want to look for is any of these circling roots, because inside a solid container like this, as the roots grow out, they hit the solid surface and they're going to want to circle around. The longer that it's in the container, the worse that's going to get. These circling roots can get worse and worse, and what that's going to do eventually is end up strangling the tree and kind of just choking out the necessary tissues to be able to transport nutrients and water throughout the tree. So what we're going to want to do is, it's called root shaving. So we're actually going to take our shovel and we're going to shave off about 1 inch of that root ball all the way around. We're going to check the bottom of the root ball and do the same thing. A little bit of we'll call it destruction on the roots is a good thing because it frees them up. Once you sever that root, it's going to allow it to then grow more fine absorbing roots. It'll splinter off from the larger root, and yeah, you're gonna end up with a better result in the end. It's gonna set its roots quicker and then be able to put more effort and energy into the top growth. We're gonna look for what's called the root flare, basically where your trunk flares out to the roots. And we're gonna wanna plant that at the grade of our hole, which is basically ground level. Plant it too deep and you can actually basically drown your tree. It's going to cause all the water to collect up around the trunk and not have those roots here. There's not going to be enough oxygen exchange, and yeah, it's going to be bad in the long term. You don't want your tree to look like a telephone pole. Ideally, you would like your pole to be twice the width of your root ball. That's not always practical, but in ideal situations, that's the size you're trying to shoot for. So yeah, you just want to sever these roots going all the way around. Helps with a nice sharp shovel. You could also use a saw or any other type of sharp implement or some hand pruners to cut some of those larger roots, but you're really just trying to free up any roots that are circling around that root ball. Every so often it can be good to kind of compact that soil down in there just to stabilize that root ball and help it not blow over or tip over. The heel-toe method works really well. Press it down with your heel or your toe, and you get better compaction if you just use your whole foot. Average to kind of shoot for is about 10 gallons per week per inch of trunk diameter. So like this tree is about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. So every week you want to give it between 10 and 15 gallons. And that includes in the winter. Winter watering is very important because especially in Colorado, you never know we're going to get moisture or if it's going to be a dry winter. So yeah, winter watering is important, but yeah, about 10 gallons per week per inch of trunk diameter. It's good to water it before you fill it in all the way. That way most of your water actually makes it into the hole instead of just running off the top. Mulch is great because it can keep mechanical damage from happening. So it keeps your string trimmers and your mowers away from the trunk. Again, you don't want to damage the trunk at all. It also looks nice. We've got the aesthetic component. It can blanket the roots in the summer and the winter, and it helps with keeping the moisture where the tree really needs it. So you want to shoot for a layer of mulch that's between 2 and 4 inches deep. That depth allows for oxygen to still be able to be exchanged, as well as moisture to trickle down to the root zones. And then an important part of mulching, as Sophia is doing, you want to clear the mulch away from the center and around that trunk. Again, you want to try and keep as much moisture from just sitting and building up around the base of your tree as possible. You don't want the base of your tree rotting and then allowing insects and disease to enter your beautiful tree.